What just happened?
I don't even know.
I was shaking it off, guys. Getting ready.
Okay.
Marianne, why are you like so pretty?
Don't embarrass me. Why are you so pretty?
I don't know. What about you? I mean, Leslie, like you're so fit.
Thanks. You guys are fit too.
I don't feel so fit.
Well, feelings are not facts. We talked about this. So you must have missed that episode.
So, Leslie, what are we talking about today?
We're talking about comparison.
I don't know what that means. I don't deal with that.
Never.
The 1% of the population doesn't know what that is.
Yeah. All right. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Hey friends, I'm Leslie. Hey guys, I'm Marianne. And I'm Angie. Together, we are the therapists of Eden Therapy Co., and we are inviting you to have a seat at Eden's table. Coming to you live from Miami, we believe in healing hearts, shining the light, and bridging the gap in mental health. Come sit with us as we learn, laugh, and explore how faith and mental health collide.
So, Leslie, why did you think that comparison was an important topic for us to bring up today?
So I thought comparison would be good for us to talk about because working with the younger population and this new generation, and honestly just anyone in general, so I think struggles with comparison, but I see it a lot with the younger generation, I think because of social media, and I think we're so prone to see like, what does the other person look like? What is the other person doing? Like, what am I missing? And I think we use comparison maybe as like a measure of like our self-worth or just where we're at, and I think it would just be really helpful to somebody, at least one person out there, to know a little bit more about why we do that and how to overcome that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why do we compare to other people?
I mean, I think it's like a human condition.
Yeah.
It is a human condition, yeah.
I think it's just been amplified more now because now we've never been more aware of what other people are doing. Not even like before social media, it's just okay, whoever your neighbors were, whoever you knew in proximity, like the 10 people you knew. But now you get to see things that people are doing all over the world. Even more of a reason to compare and contrast.
I mean, I think that the sad part is that when we do compare, like if we narrow the scope to social media, I think it's tough because a lot of times people use filters or they just have like these amazing highlight reels of what their life is like, when the reality of it is that we're seeing like these 5-minute maybe bursts of something that has a filter, is edited, as opposed to the reality of what is.
Yeah. And I think we forget that people choose what they post, like what they're showing you. Like they're not showing you the conflicts, they're not showing you their struggles, they're not showing you their insecurities or their weaknesses, you know. I think for the most part what you're seeing is the best out of everybody's everyday life.
Right.
Yeah, you're not seeing the 20 takes it took to get that one picture out.
No, wait a second. You guys introduced me to this new term for those of you who are a little older. I hope you know what the morning skinny is, which I had no idea what that was.
You were really shocked by
But
that.
who wants to talk about the morning skinny? Because here I am thinking, like, what if somebody's posting the morning skinny?
No, that's exactly what they're posting.
Yeah.
Your abs are lean in the morning.
Yeah.
And then what happens? The labs don't become lean.
Yeah. A lot of people are being more honest about this.
Yeah.
About on social media, because you see a lot of fitness influencers like saying like, okay, this is unrealistic. This is what this actually took to get this angle. So
Yeah.
we're getting better. We're not doing
making
so
progress.
bad. Yeah.
I mean, it used to be in the fashion world. I remember when we would do editorials or we would do like fashion shoots, that we would use certain softwares to make like the women look different within the magazine. And it's kind of like before you had to buy a magazine to have it, but now with social media, I feel like it's just in your face 24/7, right? And so it does develop this culture of comparison.
Yeah.
So there's two types of comparison. There's upward comparison, right? And upward comparison is when you're comparing yourself to somebody else who has something that you're hoping to attain, right? Or to achieve. So what's like an example of an upward comparison that you guys can think of?
So somebody who's further along, like maybe like if I'm not in a relationship and I want to be married with kids than the person who is married with kids
Right.
would be.
So how would that affect somebody's mental health, you think?
It would rob me of my contentment, of my ability to be content right now with my present moment, my current state of singleness.
Yeah. But in the same token, it can also give you goals to look forward to.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
it's not always a negative thing.
I would say that upward comparison would be more of like a healthy comparison, and that's saying I'm like it motivates me. Like it's what's driving me.
Yeah.
That's what you mean.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's like what's driving me to achieve, to get there. Like it motivates me. It just like inspires me.
But it's both, Marianne.
Oh,
It
okay.
just depends
Yeah.
on the person.
Got
Like,
it.
what are you using the comparison for?
Yeah.
Right? Are you using the comparison as like a motivation of, okay, I want to get there?
Yeah.
Or are you using the motivation to increase your anxiety or make you feel less than?
Yeah.
Got it.
And a lot of times with people, I like to share, what about the downward comparison, right?
Well, I would say that's more of like the unhealthy. That's where I'm comparing myself to somebody else and I'm putting myself down. Like that's where I think the down comes in. Like if I'm putting myself down when I'm looking at somebody else versus them inspiring me. It's more of I'm getting discouraged because I'm looking at somebody else and what they achieved or their job or their position or their family.
Right. And sometimes we're even comparing to people that like we think are farther along, but they're not. Or sometimes like we want to feel better, so we compare to somebody who is worse off than we are.
Oh, like, you know how some people experience like pain and it's like, well, I still have like health. Like I don't have a disease, you know?
Right.
Okay.
Exactly. And so in that case, that's actually, a pretty positive way because you're using like gratefulness, right? But it can also be you struggling with pride or struggling with ego, right?
Yeah. And being like, well, at least I'm not there. You know, like I may not be where I want to be, but at least I'm better off than this person.
Got it.
Yeah. So there's positives and negatives to comparison,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Where have you seen comparison in your lives?
Man, you want to talk about being a girl for a second? What don't you compare yourself with? Like, I don't know. Like, where do you want to start? You want to start with body image? You want to start with like women's standards? You want to start with the workplace, like education, intelligence, promoting yourself, like marketing yourself, personality. Yeah. all
What's
the
an
things.
example of personality, Les?
Oh my gosh, she's so bubbly, but she's so social. Like she just gets along with everybody. Everybody likes her.
And I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think we hear a lot of comparison, especially in the work with eating disorders. A lot of times it's that you're comparing your body to other people's body. And growing up in different cultures, I will say, for a large part of my life, I grew up in cultures where the body types were very straight. A typical European body type of the places where I lived in. Like, it's very straight, small, no hips, no butt. And when I would see that, I would be like, but wait a second, that's not me. And I really didn't see myself reflected in the bodies of those who were around me. So the comparison sometimes of my body versus theirs bodies made me feel like there might be something wrong with me. But fast forward to moving to Miami and being surrounded by Latin bodies, I was like, oh, wait a second. Like, we do have hips and we do have butts. And thank you, Kardashians. I never thought I would say that, but they really brought a curvy body to the front. I think from like a Twiggy, which is very old model that was very, very thin, to today's unfortunate, what they call heroin chic, which, by the way, there's no chic about heroin. Just the truth.
The terms that
Nothing chic about heroin.
It kills me the terms that we come up with.
Right? Like, as a society, like, why would that even be something that you want to
Heroin
get
chic. Okay.
And honestly, Kate Moss brought that to the forefront in the model world. But we look at these standards that are developed of beauty that don't take into account like your genetics.
Yeah.
Or where you come from. And I think sometimes when we're younger, at least in the work with eating disorders that I've been able to do, we look at these bodies and we're like, oh, I want my body to look like that. And then it's like, okay, but what does your family look like? Right? I mean, I could go on this topic.
No, I love this topic. We've always dealt with this. I think it's more highlighted now than it ever has been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we just have more access to comparison than
Yeah,
ever.
more access to
Like it's just easier.
How so?
Because we have a phone that we're constantly seeing other people's lives, other people's bodies, other people's achievements, other people's successes, 24/7, which is back then on beepers. I don't think you could do that. Like, who was doing that? I wasn't alive during those times.
Beepers, when we used numbers to mean words.
It's funny that she said she wasn't alive back then. I was like, I was.
I was never allowed to have a beeper.
My parents had beepers,
That's so
but I didn't
funny.
need one.
But we do it even as little kids. Like, we compare like our snacks. Like, oh my god, they have better snacks than I do. You know?
That's so
I used to do that when I was little.
true.
And I used to always say that the other person's Oreos tasted better than my Oreos. And it's true. If it wasn't mine, it tasted better.
That is such a good sentence. The things that aren't mine sometimes feel like they taste better or they are better. Like the grass always looks greener on the other side.
Right, but the truth is that it's not always greener on the other side.
I hate to break it to you, your Oreos tasted the same because they were from the same
But
place.
do you see that since I was a little girl? Like, it's just wired that way.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is that, like you're saying, Leslie, I think that we're wired to compare, not because we're trying to find something wrong with us, but because maybe we're looking for validation of who we are, or maybe we're just looking for our differences, because the truth is that all of us were created on purpose with a purpose, right? Like, God has created us to be who we are supposed to be. To think that God would take time to make sure that Marianne was blonde with green eyes and that Leslie is a brunette with brown eyes and that, praise the Lord, I'm not balding, I'm kidding. But the truth is that we are all created so differently because we all have a different purpose, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think so.
Yeah.
So how do we deal with comparison?
I think the awareness that that's what's happening, like catching yourself that that's what you're doing, and then maybe reframing, like instead of using it to either break somebody down, like it's either yourself or somebody that you're bringing down. I think it's being able to reframe, like, okay, this is something that inspires me, or this is something that motivates me, this is something that I want to achieve, or this is something that I could work on, you know?
I think one of the things that we work on here at Eden is making sure that we lift each other up and that we help each other go towards our goals, whatever they are, whether they're a shared goal or an individual goal, and we celebrate each other's differences, not just the things that we do the same, because like we don't need everybody to be exactly the same, right? And so I think that in the celebration of differences is where you find, oh, that's really cool. Marianne's really gifted with being able to speak. And Leslie is really gifted at being able to write. And maybe I'm gifted at creativity of different things that we can do. We all have certain lanes that have been made for us. And so I also think part of comparison is recognizing, is it fair to compare? Right? Is it fair? Is it fair to compare? Like, I mean, sure, if I wanted to be blonde, Marianne, I could go and get my hair dyed, but I'd probably not look that great.
I mean, you could if you wanted to.
Girl.
I can't imagine you blonde.
Exactly. Because it would be wild. Although you were blonde for a period.
It was not my look.
But you looked good anyway.
Debatable.
It's debatable.
It was all right. It was just a phase. We got over it.
Which is funny.
Okay, so how else can we fight comparison in an age that is full of comparison?
Learning to be grateful for what we have, and having an attitude of gratitude, learning to love what's mine, and not constantly looking down on what I have or what belongs to me, and then looking with hard eyes to what everybody else has. I think to your point, like celebrating what others have, but I think learning to love what's mine and to take pride and ownership and responsibility on what's in my hands.
Yeah, absolutely. That reminded me, like, I like to tell my clients that if you're comparing, then you're competing. And if you're competing, you're not connecting.
That's good.
And
That's so good.
yeah, that gets in the way of genuine, true connection because you're seeing that person as like an opponent. Like you kind of have to like one up them.
Yeah.
So that gets in the way of just genuine connection, and it gets in the way of collaboration. Because I even think of us like if we were comparing or competing with one another, we wouldn't be able to truly collaborate with one another.
And it would be really, really boring if we were constantly competing with each other. Because, like, to me, it's like competing for what? Like,
What's the prize?
what is the prize, right? And I think that that's something you also have to look at. Like, why am I comparing? Like, where is this utopia that I'm going to get to? Like, if I compare, that's going to be amazing. You know, I don't know why I keep going back to body image because I just feel that a lot of people are comparing bodies like recently. And so I wanted to share this one story about I would always say like, God, I didn't understand why you made me with the arms that you made me. And it was really something that a friend when I was younger came behind me and jiggled my arm. And so like, you know, you have little chubs in your arm and I was just like, stop it. So I became really, really self-conscious about my arms. And one day I was praying and I felt from God that he said, because when you hug people, they really feel your hug. Like I made your arms the way that they are because when you hug people, they can feel it. And it just reframed everything. I can't say that it's like everything about my body I accept because like I think it's a work in progress. And like you said, Marianne, we can be grateful for the things that we can do. And also there's something called normative discontent that a lot of people are discontent with their bodies. But I can say like the amount of gratitude that I have and even to be able to see that there was a purpose behind God's design for me. And what's really cool is that there is a purpose behind God's design for all of us, each and every one of us, right?
Yeah. He's so intentional. Like I go back to the Bible verse of like every hair on my head is numbered. Like he knows it. Like he knows every hair. Like why would I compare myself to anybody else when he knows me as well as he knows me? He created me as intentionally as he did. And I think that's why focusing on like the strength of whatever it is that you're comparing to.
Yeah.
Like your body. Like look at all the strengths of your body. Somebody else's body unfortunately has cancer. Somebody else's body unfortunately they don't, you know, they're lacking something that yours is providing for. So yeah, somebody else might have the ideal, right, that you want to get to or you want to achieve, but looking at the strengths of whatever it is that you're comparing.
Yeah.
I like what you brought up about the normative discontent because I think people are so consumed with I'm unhappy, so that means that I have to change whatever it is at whatever cost. But there's something to be said about it being normal to just like not be content with something about yourself. And it's okay. And it can remain as is. Not everything that you don't like needs to change or it needs to become something else.
Yeah. And I also think that, again, it's tied to outcome. If I change this, then it means that I'm going to be happy. Or if I reach this goal, then everything in my life is going to change. If I have X, Y, or Z, whether it be an academic goal or it be a physical goal or it be a challenge goal, if your idea is I'm comparing and I'm going to get to where they are because then that means that I'm going to be just as happy as they are, or I'm going to have just as much clout as they have, or I'm going to, whatever the there is, like I would venture to say, what happens if you do all the things and you don't get there?
Yeah.
Right? Like how can we be happy with what is today instead of wanting to be somebody else?
Yeah.
It's like what they like. So the grass is. Everybody thinks the grass is greener on the other side, but the grass is actually green where you tend to it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Water it.
So
I like that too.
yeah,
That's
it's
nice.
the ending of the phrase.
Nice. So another practical handle to deal with comparison is if social media is something that gets you in that comparison brain and it's not a good place, limit your exposure to social media.
That's simple.
Right? Like maybe stop.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
self-compassion too. I feel like that's a little underrated.
Yeah.
We have a lot of compassion and grace for others sometimes, and we're a little bit more like harder on ourselves.
Yeah.
So Leslie, if there's a parent that has kids that are really struggling with comparison and they're coming up to their parents and saying, but Fulanita is better at this than I am, what would you suggest for that parent?
I think just providing affirmation and providing like embrace and speaking identity over them. You know, like, yeah, Fulanita may accomplish that, but I'm proud of you and what you've accomplished, you know, and pointing out like the gold in them. Like, I think we could get a lot better at taking the gold out of people and like pulling the gold out of people.
That's good.
Yeah.
You like that?
Yeah. What about you, Marianne? Like, let's say that you had a couple that came in and what you realized is that the husband and the wife are really competing against each other.
Well, one, I would say it's not a competition. You're on the same team.
Right.
You're, to your point, like, what prize? Like, what is the prize? What is the goal with you competing with one another? I've heard it said we should capitalize on our strengths and cover each other's weaknesses. So if I know that you're good at this or whatever, I'm going to champion that and I'm going to celebrate that and I'm going to speak into that and encourage that. And whatever you're weak at, I'm gonna cover it. I'm gonna be like, okay, that's something that we protect, we take care of, not use it against you as a weapon or to get ahead, to beat you at whatever game we're playing. And I think that it's easy when you're in conflict and when you're arguing with each other, it can put you, when your feelings are hurt, it can put you in a space of defensiveness. I need to defend myself. My heart's been hurt. I need to hurt them too or do something so that they understand how much I'm hurting. And I would challenge that and say, well, that's leading to more destructiveness. Hurt people, and healed people, heal people. And so you have to get on the same team. One team has common goals. They use the strengths of each player to get points on the other team. So focus on that and remember what it is that you're doing.
Yeah.
You're a team.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of what you said. If you're competing, you're not connecting.
Yeah. That's
which is beautiful.
really good.
Acceptance and commitment therapy. So ACT has a tool where basically you figure out your values, right?
Yep.
But you can figure out your values as a person or as a team, and then you figure out like, okay, well, if I am able to work towards my values, then we're winning. And if I work against my values, then I'm not winning. And so being able to figure out how to work together to get wherever you are, whether that be a friendship, whether that be a couple, or whether that be a family in general, like whatever our values and how can we work towards that without comparing or destroying, right?
Yeah.
So can we give the people some tools how to handle comparison?
Well, if gratitude is my attitude, how about you take a moment and write them down? Write down a couple things you're grateful for about yourself, about your situation, whatever it is that you find yourself like constantly comparing. You know, take a moment and what is it that you're grateful about, the thing that you're not happy about or not content with.
Yeah. And I'm going to keep going with the if you're competing, you're not connecting. Like, how can I reframe this in order to connect?
That's good.
That's so good. And I would say that God made you with a purpose. So don't look to the left or to the right, but just look at God and keep asking him, what do you want from me? How can I keep going forward in my life?
It's great.
It's good.
I love it.
Remember that comparison isn't the problem, that your mindset around it is.
Ooh, that's
good. Mic drop.
Yes.
Mic drop. We can't wait to sit with you again.
That's right.
See you soon.
See you
Next
soon.
time.
Well, friends, thank you for tuning in, and remember, freedom is possible. Join us next time at Eden's Table, where you can always sit with us.
Let us know what you think. Send it to a friend who might benefit from hearing it.
Comment, like, subscribe.
And please leave us a review as well as a 5-star rating.